Well, what's the crack, everybody? How are you getting on? Welcome to another Buckshot. Tom Man here. How are you doing? Gigs coming up in the next few weeks. The very final Clattered, my stand-up show, is going to be in the Roisin Dove on 29th of October at 2:30. So we're going on a day sesh immediately. Well, during and afterwards. It's during the Galway Comedy Festival, so it's going to be fucking pumping around the town. Anyway, mighty, it's selling well, so please, if you are coming, get them now. Get them now. If you're like, yeah, fuck it, I'll grab them when I'm grabbing them. Get them now, because we're going to have a nice crowd in. I'm filming it, so comb your hair and we'll have a bit of crack. The brand new comedy club I'm opening in my local town, Care, and it is also over half sold out already and a month out, the 19th of November. So if you're in the district, I would get your ass down. It's going to be a whopper night. We have Joe Rooney, Brian Gallagher and Jacqueline Cronin from Clonmel. I'll be host. It's going to be a monthly thing. And yeah, thank God it is fucking flying out the door. Beautiful. Patrons, of course, would have gotten this last night. Thank you very much to our new patrons that joined this week. Of course, the benefits of that is you get ad-free content, you get the early access, you get the videos, and you get Ramble Pods. Midweek Ramble Pods where I go on a rant, possibly answering questions, but just go on a fucking mad one. Again, they're not put out anywhere else, so it's a bit, bit off the cuff, loosey-goosey. Wild stuff. But absolutely mental. I do it with no shirt on, that. It's class. Granted, I don't typically put a video out, but the sentiment is there. There is, of course, merch and everything else. We are going to be updating everything. Everything is getting updated. A major overhaul in the next couple of episodes. There's going to be a major overhaul in play. It'll probably, realistically, I'll probably wait till after Christmas to launch the major overhaul on Buckshot. But I'm very, very excited by it, and who I've gotten involved with for stuff like artwork and stuff like that. So, but there is merch. Go to the link in the show notes if you want to find the Patreon page, if you want to find the YouTube channel, if you want to find anything really that you need to know about, including tickets to shows. They're all there in the one link. And if you are listening on Spotify, do hit the 5 stars, hit subscribe, and hit the bell as well. For the most part, people are, no matter what you're listening to, if this is your first time, hit subscribe, and go back. There's a plethora. There'll be another one actually if you like the sound of this and fucking half nasally voice. I will be on an episode of Those Conspiracy Guys very, very soon. I possibly even as we speak now, on Friday. I think it's coming out. It's myself, Mickey Bartlett, and of course the main man Gordo, and we're talking about Rasputin. So it was an absolute dinger. We did about 9.5 hours of a podcast, so it got a bit fucking weird towards the end. But there you go. There's plenty of Tom, and 250 other episodes back down the track. Go have a gander. If you like the idea of the Ramble Pod, there's literally a few hundred of them over there as well on the Patreon page. Anyway, housekeeping done. Moving on to today's guest. He is a powerhouse of the comedy club scene. He has, I'd say, nearly, despite himself and Damo Clark, friend of the podcast, have gone on to make a hugely successful club out of the Crack Den on the Quays in the Workman's in Dublin. He's a hell of a nice lad. We had a powerful chat, and do you know what? I think we left a lot of meat in the bone. I'm going to be up with him probably the end of the year anyway, and I'm going to have a proper hang over the Galway Comedy Festival. So sit back and enjoy the absolutely marvellous Eddie Mullarkey. Well, Eddie Mullarkey, how are you keeping?
I'm great, Tom. How are you?
Great. Your hair looks fantastic, by the way. I just said I'd get it out there straight away. It looks, there's a lovely coif to it. Is it a coif? It's a coif. I like it.
There's a queef to it. There's something to it. It's a good thing this is over Zoom and not in person. There's a bit of a queef to my hair, all right.
I'd probably be running my fingers through it, truth be told, if I was...
It wouldn't be the first time, Tom, now.
No.
You're talking about anyone's hair, Tom. You're the king of Irish comedy hair.
It was an ironic joke that's kind of it's grew fucking legs now at this stage, like that. It was a dare, and the next thing it's there now. But I'm cutting it off for Movember. I'm not getting. I have a mustache, but that's not going anywhere. I'm no fucking way.
You're doing like a reverse Movember where you start chopping hair off.
At the back, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll do it for the end. I've grown it now, and it's grown, and we'll raise a few pounds for something for
Um,
Mullets Association of Ireland. I'm assuming there is one.
Mulvember. So there is a thing, like you're actually growing it for November specifically for the charity, and then you cut it off. It's not like a reverse Movember. You're going to cut it off first.
I'll do it. I'll do it whenever everybody else grows a mustache and then they get rid of it at the end of November. Like, but I'm hanging on to the mustache. That's going nowhere. But I figure it's time for the mullet to park up for a while. I think it's had a good run. It's had a great run.
It's had a good run. I didn't want to say it, but it has had a good run.
How's life in the big smoke anyway? Jesus, I mean, you're never not running a comedy club. It seems to be. Is this fucking 7 nights a week, or am I wrong?
Well, we've had to cut it down to 4 nights a week because we were starting to lose our minds a bit. And you don't want to start disliking comedy, which is what happens if you start doing 7 nights a week.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you just do one thing forever and ever, you'll just start to hate it. So, no, we went back to 4 nights a week, and now we love it again. You have better nights, you have better crack. So you're right, we were doing an insane amount of nights. And we're doing 2 Saturday shows, and we were doing 2 Fridays, and then we were doing 5 other. It was freaking 9 shows a week or something crazy for a bit. Now we're doing 4 the crack then. Yeah,
It's like this. It was like a continuous Edinburgh Fringe. Just
that's how it came across. That's how it came about. I did Edinburgh Fringe last year. Before this summer gone, and it was the first Edinburgh Fringe back, 2021. Went great. There was very few shows there, so everyone, like, if you had a decent show, you sold out for the full run. Like, because there was fucking loads of people looking for shows, and feck all people turned up because they thought COVID could hit again or whatever, but it didn't. So we all had the best Fringe of our lives. They didn't have to fly her once, and you come in and it'll be a room of 100 people, and
what?
we're all yeah, just laughing to ourselves. Everyone going for pints after, laughing, going out for 5-star meals, going, you're not going to get this again. Like, so I came back from Edinburgh to Dublin, and everywhere was closed because of the COVID rules. Remember Ireland was like 5 months behind everyone else on
Yeah.
It was very frustrating, but they had this thing 50% capacity, but no one was checking anything. So I came back to Edinburgh at a month of fucking sold out shows and doing loads of other clubs and spots and stuff. I came back, there was nothing, zero happening in Dublin. So I went down to a basement and in a Mulligan and Haynes. I shouldn't be naming the bar, really. This could implicate them in some sort of criminal activity. Anyway, I went down and I told them that, look, I'd love to run a night here. They said, yeah, go for it. And kind of winked and a nod, 50% me arse. Just fucking started doing events. And no other club had opened up, so we just quickly jumped to 5 nights a week because no one else was doing anything. And I was just out flyering. It was just like Edinburgh didn't stop. I just went back out in the streets flyering, doing online stuff, and we just straight away jumped up, and it was great.
I love that you accidentally became an immediate capitalist. Like, you were just like, hey man, I just want to keep the party going. Then all of a sudden you're like, 5 nights a week, that'll fucking do nicely now. Yeah. Nobody else is doing it. I'll crush the competition before they even fucking make a move. That is some Andrew Tate level fucking hustlers fucking university. I've fucking, because you'd be forgiven for thinking, that like comedians, like they're just a wafty old crowd, like, because they just meander through life, and then all of a sudden you hear you go, yeah, we were crushing 9 shows a week and we only stopped that because I was going insane.
You do have to hustle hard, don't you? There is I used to be a socialist, and it was all about everything, public this, public that. Then you start to run your own club, and I tell you what, all I want is lower taxes now. Don't care what happens. Don't care what happens to anyone else. Just lower my VAT. I don't know. There's still a tiny socialist in me. But in order for anything to succeed, you have to be fucking, you have to be grinding it out, competing.
It is a lovely, the idea of socialism is a lovely thing, like, but sure, it would never, we'd all be going around still licking fucking rocks if there wasn't a man or a woman that had a bit of hunger in them to fucking get ahead, like,
Yeah, and it would never work in Ireland. There's too much kind of, eyeing up your neighbor and fucking get ahead. Like, there's no way you could bring socialism in here.
I remember there was Jehovah's lads. They were in our school, and I remember sitting down with one lad one day, and I was asking him all about being a Jehovah's Witness. I said, "What is the crack?" I said, like, what's first of all, you all wear cardigans," and he had no real answer for that anyway. But his his
My first
I'm
thought
still,
was, regardless of your political beliefs, fashion. Come on.
but and they were allowed to wear them over their school uniforms, and they weren't all the one cardigan, like they were just a cardigan of any sort. They were allowed to wear them over their school uniforms. Yeah,
In your school.
yeah, yeah.
What school did you go to?
Arts school in Tipperary, like, but just
Were they American or were they? How were
no.
they? Who
Would you?
Who could first tip lads to Jehovah's Witnesses?
This is yeah. This is, and would you believe it? I ran into that lad who was in my class. I ran into his father. What did I sold him something recently? I can't remember what I sold him. Did I sell him a water heater for a fucking garage or so? Anyway, and
Witness this fucking heat you'll get out now.
yeah. But yeah, that was the thing anyway. But I don't know how they convert. They seem to pop up out of nowhere. I suppose you see the Jehovah's, like all the rest, and they're cute out, like in that they're good at sticking a flag up for anybody who's had walked away from Catholicism, I suppose, in a way, and they were like, yeah, on our way over to us, and I'm guessing they were selling the socialist thing, and that's what he was telling me, and I couldn't wrap my head around this. I says, hold on, how the fuck did you get Irish people to share their wages? What? Because you have to dump in a load of your wages, but you're good to go. You'll never see a hungry day, like, that kind of way. It's, if you're okay with that, tipping along, doing your bit, like, but I was kind of going, well, what, like, what if a man wanted to, pulling out Nixer, like, and doing a couple of gigs on the side, like, and, has he to declare all that too? And he went, oh, the whole lot, yeah. I was like, fuck, all right.
Half of Ireland is Nixers. Like, the
Yeah.
socialism off. If everything's done in Nixers, sure, where are they going to find the money to do anything of the, every comedian on the circuit, even the biggest names, half their jobs, Nixers. Fucking
sure, comedy in
half his money in cash in hand, like, all of them. It's all Nixers. Fucking no one is declaring half. You meet some of these chanters, man. It's Nixers this, Nixers that. Yeah, whenever I doing the comedy club, like, and I try and do everything by transfer invoices, and every time I mention it, the fucking hatred that I get when they don't. And what about cash? And I was like, well, can you send me an invoice? They're like, just give me the cash. They just want the cash. No one wants fucking a trace of anything.
But I haven't gotten cash from a gig. I haven't gotten cash from a gig, I don't think, since I got one. It was a very first gig back. It was actually a kind of COVID-y kind of thing with 50%. It was 20 fellas for a stag do. And I just did a 50-minute set for them, and they paid me in cash. And that's it since we have returned. Everything else is, and there's no fucking point.
Just you 50 minutes on a stage to a stag do. No one else. Just fuck Tom.
It was the oddest thing ever, Eddie. It was in the back of Beyond's in Wicklow, and a fella who does do a bit of random booking around the country, he seems to have a website or something, and he's an all right fella, and he just rang me out of the blue and said, would you do this for fucking this wad of cash? And I said, fucking Jesus, yeah, what is it? And literally I hadn't gigged in 6 months, and I went, oh fuck, jeez, I can't turn this down. I said, so I rang your man, and the crack was, he goes, they're all sound fellas. They're actually a sound gang of fellas, and we'll have our own it's a small little function room at the back of this pub. Do you want? And I literally didn't give a fuck. I had no airs and graces. I was saying, I'm going to get to talk to a room of people. So whatever, let's make it work. And yes, okay, there was, a waitress from the main bar had to walk across in front of the stage about 20 times to go to the kitchen to pick up fucking bits and pieces, but I was actually fucking delighted. Not the cash side of things wasn't what it was. It was more so, I'm just getting to fucking perform when nobody in the country is getting to perform right now. Like, so this is fucking class.
Was that your first gig back post COVID? Was it?
So I'd had a couple, like in the lift, I'd had a couple of very strange gigs. Like I was going up the north a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I had a couple of very strange kind of outdoory gigs and fucking gigs. Then I remember before we were reclosing back down, I remember I was in the Roisin Dove, and they wanted me to. I was doing a headline set, and Jo Caulfield was supposed to be doing. She was zooming in her set on a big screen, and somebody's internet shit the bed. I was literally drinking a cup of tea, and he went, "Tom, her yolks after shit the bed. Can you do a bit longer?" And again, wanting to just talk to people about longer. I'm fucking stay here all night. I went out and I did an hour and 35 minutes, Eddie.
Jesus Christ, man.
I had a pain in my hip from standing up for so long.
Did you just improvise a load of stuff, or did you have an hour and 35 in your back pocket of material?
All right, I would have had it. Yeah, I'd have that at this stage. All right, like I would. But there was a bit of a garden with the audience too, like, you know.
Yeah. Those I did a few of those gigs where kind of just lockdown was ending. Some people were stuck here and there, and they would phone in over Zoom onto the gig, and it was the most atrocious shite.
Oh,
and God bless the Roisin Dove for just. I did a couple of those. God bless them for doing the gigs anyway. You know, you had to just go ahead and do gigs. This was the circumstances, but half the people would be in the room, and then now we're going in over Zoom with Jo Caulfield or whoever. And it goes from this lovely live vibe, we're back doing gigs, everyone's having a great time, to everyone sit down now and watch the big screen for 20 minutes. Like, what the whole dynamic just like, you know, like all of a sudden, sit down, we're listening to classical music for a little bit now. Just, you know, it's a stand-up gig. You can't do it over a screen. You just can't do it. But speaking of socialism, I used to be in the Galway Housing Action Group. You know, it was about 7 years ago. I was living in Galway for a bit. I'm from Galway, and there was you know, the housing crisis was fucking still. It's only gotten worse since then. But there was a Galway Housing Action Group to try and get more social housing happening.
right.
Rents were going up, so I joined this group to kind of fucking see what was happening. And half the group, it was about 20 people. Half of them were like, we're looking at tactics, getting onto TDs and whoever to get new social housing plans. And then half the group were like hardline communists, and they every meeting they would take over the meeting. So the whole thing was fucked from the beginning, because they would go the first. A few of us be like, well, we need to establish, connect with the TD, get this plan to them, and see what they think of it, and get something happening in the Dáil because nothing's happening, or in the local council, whatever. And then they start chiming in. No, what we need is a communist revolution. I was like, look, like, what we're looking for social housing, a couple of new houses, outright. Like, we need it. So they were calling for an armed revolt, a 10 Galway, an armed revolt in Ireland. And then I was all of a sudden the bad guy who kept saying to them, look, lads, like, we're not doing a communist revolution. And no one I went to 2 meetings and I was like, well, I have to leave. Like, I can't listen about a communist revolution. The Galway Housing Action Group, man. Jesus.
I don't know if you remember. How long are you doing comedy, Eddie? About 6 years, yeah? 6 or 7 years?
4.5 years now. Yeah, 5 maybe, yeah.
There was a fella, I'd say, yeah, he was before your time. He was stone fucking cracked, right? There was a flurry of them there. And they might be a similar group still, but I haven't, you know, I wouldn't.
Oh, there's a good few of them. There's a good few cracked ones now.
But there was a fucking gang of fucking lads, of disillusioned lads that were at it there for a while. And they were, ironically, they'd convinced themselves that comedy was just a clique, and you couldn't fucking all the club, and they themselves were a clique. Do you know what I mean? Like, but they were. God bless them, but everyone was more shit than the fucking next. Like, you know what I mean? They just were like, they were in it for the wrong reasons. They were angry. They were, you know, it was all fucking anger. But this one fucking fella, I swear to Jesus, like, it didn't make any fucking sense how angry this fella was, but he was fucking communist to the core. I mean, every communist establishment in the fucking world, he thought was the bee's knees, like, regardless. Like, he literally, you'd see him commenting on Facebook when Facebook was big at the time, you know, maybe fucking 8-9 years ago, and he'd comment under every fucking thing going about comedy, and he'd reference our great leader, fucking Kim Jong-un. Like, he'd actually reference him, like, on the reg, and he'd reference then the fucking, you know, yes, the People's Republic of China, but, you know, let's be honest. But he used to...
Capitalist Republic of China. There are no more communists in China now. They've just gone pure capitalist. There's an open
Oh
market.
yeah.
There's no what they should like. They can't keep calling themselves communists when they've gotten rid of it. You know.
The only
But
thing the thing that I find hilarious about China and their level of communism is they'll pull it when it's needed, like, because with communist states you can do nothing to them. They're a closed shop. So China pull these moves like completely robbing the fucking maybe the BMW X3. They'll just go, we're going to make our own one. What
yeah,
this? No, this isn't a copy of it at all. It's like you just it's a 3MW. You literally just changed the B to a 3. What? And you're like, nope, no, we didn't. We're a communist state. You can't fucking look into us. Fuck off.
it's the Tommy Z2, the new model. Designed with that.
But this fella, and I spoke to him one night and I remember asking him, I says, so everything communist is the bee's knees. He goes, fucking, tis the only fucking way. And the poor cunt was completely fucking brainwashed. And everything communist, especially in Asia, because I suppose that's where the strong ones are at the minute, like, but he thought they were just, tis the only way. And you need to look up to one fucking leader and you all get your fucking ration of food every week and that'll fucking do you. Like,
But he's ironically posting it on all these capitalist company forums, Facebook, Instagram, making all these posts, and companies making money out of their. That's what's funny. Like, there's communist groups on Facebook with
yeah.
huge millions, like hundreds of thousands, and sure, Facebook are delighted because it just means more ad time for them. Like, the more communist groups, the better for them. They just keep milking these guys who believe all this nonsense. There's a few of them now still wanting to make big cooperatives in the comedy scene, which there's nothing wrong with cooperative. The problem is who's in it. So, like, because they want to.
It's a great idea, lads, but you're all fucking useless. Go ahead.
Get away around me, will you? But like, they'll just water it down. If there's too many people, they're just making everything shite. Then you can't have 20 people booking a club and running a club. Like, that's because everyone will have a say in everything, and everything will just be an absolute headache. Someone has to make some decisions. Anyway, look, God bless them all. Hope they do well.
I love how you pulled the horns back in there. You went, fuck it, I don't want to run him into the ground altogether. Like, fuck it.
No resentment.
Coming from the very successful fucking club runner himself, going, lads, keep going. Go on, fair play to you. Yeah.
Everyone deserves a chance. Keep going.
But you are right. Like, there was always kind of that, and where groups would come together, and you're kind of going, I hear you, and you can push it for all you are in the world, but the bottom line, the world over, stand-up comedy, unfortunately, for the most part, is a lone wolf thing. Like, and I guarantee you, any one of those 20 people, if they made a breakout, you know what I mean? They had a breakout for some stroke of luck or whatever, to be fucking rear view mirrors, the only place they'd be looking at, lads. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's a cooperative of 20 people, of 20 sharks who want to get out of the cooperative as quick as they can. That's what the cooperative is. They're all it's the most individualistic pursuit going. Like, if you want to co-op, get into sketch comedy or something, or improv. But stand up, it's the people you meet. It's funny, you meet quite a mix. Most of them are all sound out dead on.
Yeah.
And then you meet some backstabbing sharks the odd time as well, who and everyone just turns a blind eye, because if they're good, sure, they're good. Like, you can't deny it. You'll be like, Jesus, they're funny. I mean, they'd rob my grandmother, and if it gets them a gig, but that's the scene. Like, there's so many different characters. They're always with the idea of a co-op with some of those people, you'd be like,
No, you're grand. You're grand. I'll tip away there, lads.
yeah.
It was because it always kind of puzzled me but going back to your man, like, what I was trying to get to the bottom of with your man when it came to his politics, whatever. But sure, across the board, everything's right with. He says everything is 100% right with communism. I says, but is there not a little sprinkle you'll take from column A and column B? No, across the board. I was like, fucking, who hurt you? Who fucking hurt you to say that you've handed in all your chips across the counter, that you've absolutely no individual want to be an individual at all? And that goes for any hard political, whether it's hard left or hard right. It's like, but Jesus, surely you can't. Surely, bit of fuck, you can't be in with all of it. Like, that's where I would struggle politically. I go, a bit from the A and B, where you know, and
Yeah.
fucking hell.
Surely you have to be like, you have to be a bit practical somewhere. You can't, like, no theory from a book actually defines the whole world. You know, it's not like
Yeah.
one person came up with an idea that enveloped they got everything right. They just managed to somehow, with one thought, whole world and nail it down into a fucking 20-page manifesto, and that's it. Perfect, done. This is it, lads. There's no more thinking needs to be done at all. Forget your economics, forget your books. This is it now. Like, how could you not, you know, good luck to them anyway. All the best and God bless.
But that's why I think for the most part of Ireland, why I get shocked when I hear things like that is like, you're watching too much American shite. That's what's wrong with you now. Because for the most part in Ireland, I think because there's only, I used to do a bit about it that was relative to the amount of us that's here. Because there's only 5 million of us. We all kind of think we're all class individually. Do you know, we're all, like, I don't see how a hard left or a hard right would work with your average Irish person, because they go, I'll fucking tell you myself, fuck you. You know, we all have a notion. We all have notions about ourselves in a way. Like, whereas when you go to a large, densely populated place like the UK, where you have 70 million people on an island, only time and a half the size of Ireland, they'll just follow like fucking lemmings, like in any direction for whatever's fucking being told to them. Like,
yeah. There's too many contrarians in Ireland to have a group in the hard left or the hard right. You're right. You know, you're right there. Like, you can't. You know, in America, people are looking for an identity, so they jump onto this or that. But to tell a bunch of Irish people that, oh, immigrants are the problem, join us here, they'll be like, I'll fucking tell you what the problem is. Go on, fuck off now. Don't be telling me what, you know, you don't. And then anytime you do see a group, although my sister lives in Dublin, right, and she was getting stuff in the like, she was getting stuff in the door, little pamphlets that were saying mad stuff. What was it? What was the really right wing Irish political party? What were they called? I don't know if they're still alive at all.
was it something new? No, it wasn't something new. Was it Air Nua or something they were calling themselves? Or
I think that was it. They were handing out pamphlets around to people's houses that said, "Watch out for the new Irish communities," and then would have someone robbing an old lady, and they were clear person, like a African or something, like horribly racist shite. Like, you look at it and you go, who even, and also very bad photoshopping as well, like, you know, really poorly designed. What they're called at all, but
like Richard Pryor, like on stage, just robbing it over.
Oh Jesus, it was absolute terrible shite. But it must have been a group of only 5 people, like whoever. They don't even they never even got someone into the doll. They never got anyone anywhere. But they were handing out this tripe all around Dublin. And I've known all about it, other than you'd want to kick some of their heads in.
But I mean, but I suppose it spins back to how in the name of fuck somebody convinced a gang of lads from Tipperary town to become Jehovah's. Literally, there must have been a diesel card or something offered. There's fuck, I can't. Or lower tax rates. That's the only thing I can think of. Like,
I'd almost join Jehovah's now if they offered the crack den some discount on VAT. I had an offer a couple of years back. I used to do a lot of acting, and I got an offer to read out L. Ron Hubbard's works for the Scientology in Irish, Os Gaeilge, right? I speak a bit of Irish.
On fucking couple.
My acting agent at the time, he called me up, said he has this offer from an LA agent. They've translated it into Irish. They've paid for that much. Now they need someone to read it, and they said the offer was fucking good money. It was 24 grand to go over to Denmark for 3 months. So you'd go for the full summer, and you'd read out whatever. You'd be doing 6 to 8 hours reading each day in this Scientology building in Denmark. They have a little studio in there. So you'd be going in every day. And sure, didn't I have fucking notions and ideals at the time? I was like, no, I can't be supporting Scientology. This is what my thinking. I know. Now I look back at my young self, go, you fucking moron, take the money. Take the money. But at the time, I thought, like, what if this was my thinking at the time, what if I was responsible for some young Egypt in Connemara who sent an audiobook from L. Ron Hubbard, and so I don't even know what they believe in, that aliens came down, and I don't know, but he listens to this and he sends all his money to Scientology, and he joins the Church of Scientology, all this. And sure, who read it? Eddie Mullarkey's voice. It was me who directly connected this young lad into Scientology. And I'm sure someone took the job in the end, of course. They found someone to do it. Like, but now
probably
if you ask me,
probably Jerry Staunton. Sure.
Jerry Staunton, Martin Angola or Jerry Staunton took the job in the end. But fucking hell.
Ara, fuck it. Anyway, what a story that would be. And you 24 fucking grand, Jara, fuck.
I know, what was it? I'd have 24 grand and 3 months living with Scientology lunatics. It would have been the best.
In Denmark, it would have been like, can you imagine the story, like the new hour, like an hour you would have out of that, like?
The show I could have had, all because I had some fucking hippie, communist notions. And sure, there you go, Tom. There you go.
So give me the age. What age were you when you had these fucking thoughts in your head that you weren't going to willing to turn down 24 grand?
I was about 22, and I was more broke than I've ever. Like, obviously, you know, it was when I needed 24 grand the very most, and I had some fucking ideal going. But yeah.
Fuck it, anyway.
Yeah, I must find the actual translation, see who did do it, call them up. I mean, they must. I wonder have they converted it? If they spent 24 grand getting it recorded, they must have spent another 20 grand getting them all translated or something. I don't know. And then, did they convert one person? So 50 grand. Did they convert one Gaelgore from Connemara or Guidor and Donegal? Did they convert anyone? Is there any Scientologist out in the Gaeltacht region?
Here's the thing. I think if you have. It's all to do with tax anyway, right? If you, it was as you were saying it, it was like I fucking read it somewhere. This has been the tax relatable podcast, by the way, but myself and Eddie despise paying tax. It's the most gut-wrenching fucking thing you can do because
honestly, the revenue
you don't actually even get a fucking pair of socks for the amount of fucking money you hand over. But anyway, it's something to do with tax, and I can be corrected here by any listeners because I have some very smart people listening to this. But if you want a business worldwide, I think you're discriminative if you're not in a fucking langerload of languages. Right. Like they might be going after nobody down the West Coast. Do you know what I mean? But what they might be doing is...
I was a pure idiot. They weren't even bothered with it. They just wanted some lad to come down and do it. I was a fucking pure idiot.
Most likely the tax saved on... And I suppose the company guidelines that they had to follow, they probably would have had penalties into the millions. So 50,000, Eddie, was literally a fucking saver. So I hate to shit on you, but no, I'd say not one person has ever nor will ever listen to it.
Yeah. And just if you're listening, anyone listening to this that is a Scientologist and does need another reading, I am still available. You know, I'll take the soup now. I tell you, I'll take any soup.
We went to, as you talk about acting and Scientologists, we looked at a rehearsal space. They were after opening a huge spot in Tala, and I was doing I can't remember, it was the University of Concert Hall in Limerick, the panto. I did it for 5 years. It was a big pro panto, you know. Most people were UK based or Dublin based.
On them and all, yeah. You were one of the big. What was your character in it?
Oh, sure, I played me every year. Do you know what I mean? So they were some of the years I was the huntsman. You know,
were you the villain or the hero, Tom?
I was typically the adult humor that would come in and not sing or dance, and I would basically stamp on all their punchlines. I would steal the limelight and then wander off. Hog, and hog, because they were brilliant, amazing actors at singing, dancing, and reading and knowing their lines. Whereas they allowed me to write my own lines more or less. Lovely. And then I would come in and be into stand-up. I would take it up to level 11 and steal everything.
Yeah.
And the parents were going, I don't know why I like that fella. What is it about him? I was like, and the kids couldn't give a fuck about me, really. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the odd time they would, but really, it was only for the adults. But, that was my MO every single year, basically.
Jesus, yeah, that takes a certain improv skill to go up and do that. Because not a lot of comics, not a lot of stand-ups will be able to just jump in a panto and go, yeah, let's do it.
Do you know what? I didn't know year one. I didn't know, and then when they asked me back in year two, and it was kind of a double act. Myself and another comedian who he knows who he is, but and he didn't get asked back, and I did, and I was kind of given free rein then, that kind of way. And I tell you, it benefited my stand up after December. When you come back doing stand up again in January, you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, I've got stage presence. You're actually, as you would know yourself, sure. I mean, I was, I didn't realize how much meat on the bone I was leaving of a good bit. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, that bit is funny being told, but performing it for the people,
Yeah.
oh, there's another fucking 25% left in around the back of it there. Fucking hell.
Throw in just a hint of panto every so often. You don't need to go panto 100% of the set, but you flick in a bit of panto and
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I found, even because I'd never learned stagecraft or anything like that. You know what I mean? Where how you move up and down the stage and where to place yourself. So, but subconsciously after doing it, when you do 50 shows in a row to twice a day to fucking 1,100 people at a time, you find there's no fear of the space. Then you're like, oh, this is where I need to be, over here. And so I did.
Which is the only way to learn stagecraft and performance. You can't learn from a book. You have to actually.
I couldn't imagine I would. Anyway, I couldn't.
Oh, no. I studied theatre and in NUIG, and like the people to be teaching you, okay, sit down, we're going to read this, and you'd be reading theory about performing, and so you'd be like, what? You wouldn't have a clue what's the point, like. That's the best thing about stand-up. And once I started stand-up, because there's so much time wasted just reading about performance. Stand-up, it's such a fast learning curve because you're up on a
it's shit or
stage.
bust, like, isn't it?
It works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't work, you have to fucking finish your thing, get off stage and go, why the fuck did I do there? Why did that not work? Change it, get back up and go again. And you don't need to read a book. You don't need to fucking go to lectures or anything. It's just you and figure it out as fast as you can because the pressure's on. And it's some learning curve. But the amount of faffing I did trying to learn about acting and stuff, and the amount of chats about nothing, and then you just start stand up. You're like, oh, geez, this is the only way to, the school of life.
I will come back and ask you more about stand up, but I wanted to tell you about the Scientology crowd. And we were going to go, I can't remember, was it with the Panto, but the same production company cast me in a one-man play that we were going touring the country with. And we were looking for a rehearsal space.
See, these people, they love you, Tom. They put you in as yourself in the Panto. They will throw Tom O'Mahony in the middle. And then they're like, you know what? We'll do a one-man show with them as well. Bring them around the country. Who you still working with these guys?
I'm going back working with them again. Yeah, in the new year. Yeah.
I didn't even know you. Fair play to you, man.
Do you know what it is, Ed? And I'll tell anybody. This goes for any business if all you're doing is mixing concrete. The one fucking thing your man said to me, and in fairness to producing the the owner of the production company, he's a very straight talking man. Like, even though he's worked with a lot of camp people and a lot of emotions and a lot of big personalities in the 40 years in business, he's the one reason, he says, why I won't look past you. He says, you cause me no hassle, nothing.
Yeah.
There isn't one iota of hassle. You turn up, you say hello, you shake hands, you do your shit, you have your coat on, and out the fucking door. Good looking, thanks. That's it. Yeah. You turn up on time. You don't leave too early. You leave on time as well, and you get the fucking job done and do it. I'll never be the greatest in the fucking world at it, but I'll never cause your man a moment's fucking unrest. Like, he can literally just go. He can give me the schedule a month beforehand and not talk to me again until the run is done. That go all right? Grand. Clear. Yeah. Check clear. Did.
He has enough anxiety to be dealing with the 101 things that has to happen and that can go wrong than a performer becoming a diva going, no, I want it this way, I want it that way. And they're like, fucking, yeah. It happens in stand-up as well. Some people, they go in for a 15-minute set and they go in and do 35 minutes. And you're like, you ruined it. People come and do that. And then and because there's their best stuff that come off and they'll have done great, so they
Yeah.
think, "Okay, I made the night. It's all about me. I made the night unreal. Did you hear the applause?" And you're like, yeah, and there's three comedians left, and and the audience are erect, and this person comes off and fucking dancing, and you're like, who, you know? Anyway, and now they're in a co-op, and they're communist. ah, ah,
It is funny how fast an ego can grow and you would have seen it in the acting world too. Like, you're kind of going, you weren't fucking born with an ego. Like, where did you get it from? Because none of us are fucking performing heart surgery. Like, I get it. Okay, you can come away kind of going, Jesus, I did well there now. Yes, yeah, that was good. That was good. That was good. But it's the rock star. And I saw fucking this woman I gigged with for years. And Hell in High Water, she's never progressed. Like, she just fuck it. She's still fucking brutal. I don't give a fuck. She's brutal. Like, she just is. But whatever which way and whatever way the stars aligned, it worked well for her, and things went well. And I said, fair Jesus, I mean, fair fucks. Do you know what I mean? Fair fucks. Like, Jesus, if you can pull the fucking wool over people's enough eyes to make a fucking living out of it, when you're not writing anything,
yeah,
and you're not, but you're getting away with it. Jeez, that's fucking, you got to take your fucking hat off some bit to that. But I remember seeing
fucking who can make a few bob
anybody who can make a living, but this was through no effort whatsoever. Like, nothing. The same joke I saw fucking 8 years in apart, like, and it was fucking no better that time around either. And I was like, fucking hell tonight. And and the same day, I remember meeting a huge, like, one of the biggest comedians, and they were the same time they were talking about the set and this particular fucking festival we're doing, and they were giving out yards, going, Jesus Christ, I could have done fuck it anyway. Standing ovation stuff, like, going, fuck it, they deserve better than that now. And I was like, oh. And then this individual, this woman was like, fucking sold the place out, motherfucker, just shouting to the ether, just shouting and it wasn't sold out at all, like, and it wasn't her, it was a much bigger name comedian on with her, like, and it was just sold it out, motherfuckers, and even this chap turned around and just, who the fuck is that? I went, the mind, but it was like where that came from. They did like a smart woman, but the disillusionment to believe that all the plaudits they're getting is purely based on talent. You're like, fucking, the stars align for you, but it ain't fucking talent or skill or hard work.
Have you heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
No.
It's a term in psychology when basically you're overly confident in a new thing, a new skill set, a new thing that you're just starting, right? And you're overly confident because you don't even know enough about the skill to know your shit. So let's say, like, people who start stand-up, they go up and they do a 5-minute set and they get 2 laughs.
Yeah.
And they're chuckles from people. And then they go off and they go, Jesus, that was great. 2 laughs. The jokes went well. And they don't have a reference point for what it means to just rip it and do great. And I suppose, life requires you to be a bit ignorant to actually keep going with something anyway. So it's kind of the Dunning-Kruger useful effect. But some people seem to be able to hold on to that for a full career. Like, they still, it's supposed to be a thing that you kind of grow out of as you grow in your skill set. You realize how bad you were to start, and then
exactly.
You still learn. Oh, geez, I still was doing all those things wrong, and you're still always growing and learning. But at the time, you think you're doing it properly, but you're actually not. And that's the Dunning-Kruger. But some people they're just consistent for years. They just don't. They still think they're great, and they've never progressed. But the brain is an amazing thing. It'll keep telling them fair play. It's like a big thumbs up, again, right in front of them, and it's just nothing. The thumbs down in their brain never appears.
And this seemed to be kind of nearly the opposite, in that it seems to be getting stronger from what. But that's a great the Dunning-Kruger. But my father has he's a great phrase it'll give you, it's just a snapshot of that, and he calls it thick enough. if a fella was, do you know when you go, how is that fella running a fucking successful business and he's even two fucking brain cells to rub together, but his blissful ignorance has gotten to where he needs to be because he never saw the pitfalls or the dangers. And
Yeah.
how my father would describe that is he's thick enough. So you're just fucking thinking, there's a hint of intelligence to keep going,
Yeah.
but thick enough to see fucking none of the problems. Like,
Yeah, thick enough not to see the risks. You don't. So once you see the risks, that's when the problem. That's when you start. What was your dad's name?
Bill.
Bill O'Mahony.
Yeah.
And they're kind of. It's almost the same psychological term in a way. Thick enough and Dunning-Kruger effect. But Dunning-Kruger must have been a German. It sounds like a German psychologist.
It does. Yeah.
And I love how the Bill O'Mahony effect. They just call it thick enough effect. That's the Irish and the Germans. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, yeah. So you're overly confident for it's the start of the process, yeah. That's the thick enough effect. We know that well. You don't need a big terminology for that.
I'm going to call into Bill now tomorrow and tell him that and say you're fucking famous now. Your effect, fucking thick enough. And well, when anybody I've said it to, it's like, yeah, actually that's When you think of it, when you extrapolate the depth of it, it's like, yeah, that makes it thick enough. Yeah.
That's right. So, I'm glad I'm definitely thick enough. Like there's definitely things that you haven't thought about that other people look at me and go, how is he? But they just don't cross my mind. And then I could end up in the shit, or it could all go wrong because I don't see the problems. But that's kind of there's a usefulness in it, all right.
But sure, that is stand up in itself. Like, I mean, that the first day you pick up a microphone, if you thought about it like your average person, you'd never do it. Like, but you have to just dump your brain and go, I'm just going to tell some jokes and just see what happens. Thick enough. And sure, we have to be. And say when they offered me the panto that time, before I walked on stage to a full house with nothing but professionals, people they'd flown in who were taking a break from Cats. One of the girls was in Wicked in the West End. Like, these were super fucking talented, skilled, professional people. I had never been to a panto before the one I was in. Like,
so they were all chatting to each other, going, "Oh, where did you study? Oh, I went to RADA."
Yeah, they all did RADA. They all did RADA.
They asked you, where did you study? And you just said, Ash, no, I'm thick enough. Don't worry about me. I'm thick enough. I'll jump on. Don't worry. I'm thick enough.
I'll jump on.
Dunning-Kruger. Don't worry about it. I'm on.
Yeah. But do you know what? But at the same time, I was like, yeah, I'm meant to be here. This is grand. When I quickly established, I was old enough, I was mature enough to know, okay, know your fucking lane here now, Tom. Because, the lead man was like built like a Greek god. You know what I mean? He was an amazing fucking ballerina. Like, and he had flown in from Cats from Hong Kong. Like, they were in situ there. Like, and he was for like 6 months or something. He was like delighted to be back.
Was it in Mandarin? Was it in Chinese? Cats in Hong Kong.
I don't know. Not at all. I'd say sure.
It's God. He speaks Chinese and does cats and.
I mean, but this is what you're talking about. Like, these kind of people, like, who were getting. I mean, I remember talking with him, and he was saying that he was out getting. He got his mortgage, to buy a fucking flat in London, based on the strength of Cats alone. I was like, a single bloke by himself buying a fucking flat in London. I was like, okay, things are going all right for you, so fair enough. But
Cats the musical? You're going in for your audition. You go, this is it now. This is my mortgage. Cats,
like one of the most fucking unimaginative names. Like, they could have called it a fucking feline's life. They could have called it fucking Whiskers fucking O'Toole. They just went, there you go, thick enough. They just went, we'll call it Cats. Sure, there's a fucking load of rake of cats.
Thick enough. That'll work. Don't overthink it, lads. Cats. It's about cats, and you keep it simple.
Yeah. What you say again? No. Cats will do the finest. Now to do the finest. And did you dump? So you studied in NUIG. Did you Did you go on to study anywhere? You didn't do RADA, did you?
No, I didn't do RADA. I did. I went over to Scotland, the Royal Conservatoire of
Oh,
Scotland.
excuse me.
I just studied acting there, and it was great. It was great. A lot of old texts. It was all mostly theatre, and some Shakespeare stuff. And I've forgotten it all really, but um, you know, it, I'll be
I love.
honest. Stand up was stewing in the back of my mind while it was happening,
Oh,
and then
was it? All right. Yeah, yeah.
and I was writing different bits, and I wrote a play while I was over there, and put that on a one act play, and it was all comedy, and then yeah, acting is a pain in the arse because you have to wait for your next job. You'll be
Oh,
waiting 3 months.
fucking yeah.
The patience it requires is phenomenal. The people, and then some of the actors I know, they waiting between jobs, and they could be like well established, doing very well, but it doesn't matter. You do a big film, and then you'd still be waiting 3 months until the next film. It's not like even the biggest stars, they're unemployed for 6 months of the year, like, because
Oh,
they're just
yeah.
waiting for the next thing. So it's just the nature of the job. So, but it requires fierce patience to just go, yeah, it's fine. I'll be doing auditions, and it'll all come my way, and sure, everything's fine. I was fucking banging my head against the wall like a week waiting for something. I'd be going mental. Whereas, stand up really fills that void very quickly because you're like, right, just do an open mic when you're starting out. I'll just do an open mic tonight. I've got a bit, want to try it, and you're always challenging yourself and always able to grow on your own terms. But acting, you're waiting for someone else's terms. Now
I
that's a
hear
bit of a
you.
negative description of it. Like there's more to it, but I couldn't handle that side of it. I just couldn't.
I mean, it's yeah. I know exactly what you're talking. That one man play, we toured it, and then they were like, "Yeah, okay, so we'll circle back." So it was being planned. 2020, they were taking. We toured it, and it did. It was they do it. It's been in your man. The same bloke has had it in 40 odd different countries. Like it's a big American thing, but they wanted to go much bigger after it did well enough in the smaller rooms. And they went, okay, so we like 2020 was going to be a big bust out. They booked like the Liberty Hall for most of September, I think.
Right?
But sure, that we all know what happened in 2020 anyway. But even before that, like
Tom got cancelled, if you're wondering.
I got cancelled. I cancelled culture. I had to change my pronouns to fucking him.
It was very lucky that he got cancelled as a pandemic started. It was very good timing, man. I couldn't imagine someone to time a cancellation better.
Would it fucking be perfect? Yeah. Can we bring forward that cancellation altogether?
I'll better release that thing because it's going to get out eventually. We'll do it now. Go on, let it out.
But I remember saying, like, I said, so we're just going to, this is like 2000. I said, we're just going to let it sit, like, or what's the fucking crack? And they were like, yeah, to be, I suppose I'll get a fucking van myself and take the few fucking bits stage with me. And I'll go fucking do it myself around the place if you want. Like, I know all the words. I know all the words.
Yeah, I know the show. We don't need too much, but yeah, theater and film, they're waiting. It's all a lot more official than stand up. That's stand up is a very cheap. It's great. It's just a person and a microphone and a light. Like it's the handiest. That's why you go over to Edinburgh Fringe or different festivals, and God bless these fucking poor theatre companies coming over, making a loss, having to fund 2, 3 stage hands, a stage manager, 5 actors. There's 15 people involved in a show, and they get 20 people in to see it. And while a stand-up comedian flyers for their own show, and they get 60, 70, 80 people in, and there's only one person that needs to be paid for entry.
Yeah.
And so, back to taxes. Back to taxes. Back to the.
Why are we not deemed as proper fucking artists anymore is what I'm talking about, Ed. You know what I mean? Do you know what we need to do? Never mind co-ops. We need to start a religion.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
That's what we need to.
Crack 10 religion.
Yeah. Because sure, that's how the boys are doing the ayahuasca. They form and they can do it in America legally as well. They get tax breaks in America. Those super churches, sure, the lads are literally billionaires because every penny that comes into them, they're having to pay a bean of tax on it.
Yeah. That's some racket. if you, the preachers, the super preachers, yeah. Didn't some of them get, a load of them got done for being pervs as
Oh,
well?
sure, of course they did. Sure, I mean, Eddie, I'd best any man, woman, or beast to not turn into some sort of weirdo. If you literally have an arena every Sunday and you walk out and the whole place is looking at you like you're better than any musician they've ever seen, like you're literally a hand of God. And after a while, you're going to go, I mean, that's not the Donning fucking, that's not the bill fucking, the taking up. That is literally, you're being, it's being affirmed immediately the
You're being,
second you walk out.
being deified. You're being told you're a god. You start to believe it. It's like the moment anyone gets a private jet,
Yeah.
they transform. That's it, and they just fucking God knows what they put onto that private jet after that. So yeah, but speaking of tax, our favorite topic. I I found out something. I need to look into this because you know as you were saying, the comedians aren't seen as proper artists, and artists get tax breaks, huge tax breaks in Ireland, up to 50 grand you can earn as certain if you're a composer, if you're a writer, or if you're a painter. Those are the three
Yeah.
art mediums because the Irish government are in 1731 the year when they were the three art forms that existed. Nothing else is around. But the way to get around it is declare yourself as a writer, but so you won't be able to get the full 50 grand that a writer like a poet would get. But say you're a writer, so on the revenue you get from your stand-up, you can say, well, half of it is because I write it, and then you're saying I'm a writer, so you get a tax break on it. Now for you.
Well, so I'm blocking this out, and it'll be just the Ed and fucking Tom show going for because if every cunt in comedy hears this, there'll be a fucking audit done on every fucking one of us.
Well, there'll be people listening to this podcast who are cement mixers, as you said, and say, "Well, I wrote the fucking manual for myself for the cement mixers. I actually only have to pay half because I'm a writer as well."
Fuck it. Yeah, I mean, but and do you have to? Yeah, I remember going down that route before, and I got a very stuffy fucking tax person who I've accountant that I've since left. They were like, "Oh well, I mean, it needs to be published work and blah blah blah." I said, "But what defines published? Like, so it needs to be in Waterstones, does it, or can I not be doing it in a live?" I said, "I can send them a fucking video if they want to see it live, and try and find somebody talking about mustaches and mullets, you know." Fucking hell.
Yeah, you'll have to release a book, Tom, of your bits and just yourself and the mustache in the front. And then
by bits, Eddie is talking in the comedic sense. A bit is like an actual joke. He's not actually talking about it, but releasing it. Or maybe you are talking about a book of me just flashing myself.
I know it's Tom's bits, close-ups on Tom's arsehole, newly bleached.
And I've often wondered, had anybody ever done, those little flick books where there's a little stick man running, like, has anybody ever done a flick book like of an erecting penis? Like, I think that'd be genius, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I can see it now. There's something. I mean, it's a project. It's a project for sure.
What I meant to tell you about the Scientology thing, we were going to take the room because they were like, "Come on in, guys, come on in. There'll be tea, coffee laid down for you every day." And we were like, "Well, what's the fee?" And they were like, "Fee, don't you worry about it. We're into the arts here in Scientology fucking headquarters. We've had people here before." And the next thing I went, "Jesus Christ, lads, this is too good to be true, surely, isn't it?" And the boys, of course, are fucking loving it because they're like, "So we don't have to fucking rent a space. They're going to give it to us." The next thing I asked a mate of mine, she's an actor as well, and they actually took the space for a fortnight. And she was loving it at the beginning because she's only up the road from Tala. But literally, they are watching your every move. They're video recording. They actually have a camera set up in the room, like not fucking like a security camera, an actual camera set up in the room. And then they find themselves sailing over to you in between, takes or whatever, or in between fucking rehearsals and going, "Hey, so happy enough at home, are you?" kind of a thing. Like,
Oh
oh
Jesus.
Jesus. Yeah.
Happy at home. Wow.
Yeah.
It's one way of luring people in. All right, free rent, join our religion,
But sure,
do
think
what
about it,
you.
Eddie. Actors, sure, they're some of the most broken people ever. Like,
Yeah. Sure, half of Scientology it's all LA actors, big
yeah.
names that they bring in, yeah. But not Tom O'Mahony, I tell you. They get Tom Cruise, but not O'Mahony. He's thick enough. He's
You
just
think
thick enough to stay out of it.
the only reason I'd be in there is fucking trying to fucking garner a few fucking ideas on how to fucking dodge tax. That's the only reason I'd fucking take it up.
Yeah, if you can from anyone, it is the Scientologists for sure.
I won't. Are you probably? Are you? Have you the club tonight? Have you? Or is it tomorrow night?
No, Wednesday off. Yeah, tomorrow night. Thank God it's the night off now. Yeah.
I won't keep you much longer for your on your night off. So Crackden. Oh, by the way, quickly, I need to ask you about the TV show. How did the? This was fucking. Do you know what was brilliant was running into fucking club owners and a couple of club who were nearly half angry with you in a way because they were going. And I mean, like, it's, do you know, it's just fucking the fucking TV show with their fucking club. I'm like, how did that come about? I'm like, through the lads probably busting their bollocks, doing all the work, I would imagine, and still fucking and having the fucking guts to go and do it. Like, so fair
Yeah,
fucking play to him. Like,
yeah. We rolled the dice on it. Like it was a mad experience. Basically, we got 6 episodes up on Virgin Media television, and we got 3 comedians each episode. And it's a simple format. Like it's just we host it. 3 stand-ups come in, do 6 minutes set each, and that's it. That's your
and did
TV
ye
half hour.
pitch it, or did they come to ye, or how did it come about?
So Damo had worked with them before, so he kind of knew them, and we pitched it. Yeah, we pitched it, and then now, there's so many kind of weird bits to this. Initially, basically, we did it. We funded everything ourselves because we weren't sure if there was going to be a sponsor. Though there was, they really Virgin like absolutely sorted us out. But we didn't know. They said they're looking for a sponsor, and we will get you something, guys. We don't know yet. We're in the midst of it. And then they said, when can you have it ready for the summer? And we were like, yeah, right. Is the sponsor in? And then they said, yeah, no, we will get something. It was all kind of back and forth. And then we were like, right. So we set the date down to film. We got in we filmed it in the tram line, and we booked in a crew and a director and the works and all the comedians and all that. And we still hadn't got the sponsorship. So we just forked out everything we had and paid everyone out of our own pockets and did it. We did everything ourselves, basically driving around, picking up stuff, dropping people off, whatever it was, getting fucking food into the space, getting all the different things that are entailed in making a TV show. And then we paid all the people out of our own pockets. And it was a mental experience, but we just got it over the line. And then, of course, Fair Play Virgin delivered then. Also, Fair Play, all the comedians on it, they did it for next to nothing at first. Again, I was promising them the same thing I was getting promised. I said, we'll get you sorted. We're hoping to get a sponsor. But in the meantime, will you just kind of, here's just a few bob, come on and do it. And they were like, Jesus Christ, all right. So, and they did get sorted in the end. But there was so many people involved in this whole project acting in just good faith,
Yeah.
until it all actually came through and got delivered. And Virgin got us sorted in the end. But yeah, we just, at fair, like Damo Clark, man, once he gets his mind set on something, that's
He's a
it. Like
fucking dynamo, like, isn't he?
he's a dynamo. There's no stopping him. I was saying, look, we'll wait for the finance to come in first, and we'll see. And then he was like, no, we'll just set the date and get it done. And it's. And I was like, why? But we're taking a big risk. And he said, well, just make it happen. And in one way, he's dead right. So we kind of came in with the attitude to Virgin as well. We were like, look, we kind of played it cool, as if like, we're doing this thing anyway. If you want to jump on board,
Yeah.
it's going to happen. And they were like, what? They were almost a little bit confused at first. We're like, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and do it. So like, they were like, well, we'll see. And we'll look for a sponsor. We're like, yeah, that'd be great, actually, if you get us the sponsor. please get the sponsor. Actually, that would be okay. But we're doing it anyway, or whatever. Like, whatever. did it, and then they were like, I think they were like almost a bit baffled, like, geez, fair play. They just kept going with it. It was because you could be waiting for years for the BAI broadcast funding or whatever Screen Ireland funding, or you could be back and forth, and then it all gets watered down or whatever. So we just got it over the line. Hopefully we'll make more of them as well. So that's fingers crossed.
Yeah, you will. I mean, with that kind of drive to get, like, I fucking love hearing that you drove on regardless and went, fuck you. Because, yes, it is money, but sure, that's all it is. Like, you'll make fucking more of that stuff. Like, it isn't like they're actually asking for a limb or they're asking for you to make a bollocks of yourself on that. You drove on and went, we'll get this fucking thing made and that'll be the end of it now. Fuck you.
Yeah. And it was a kind of momentum that a lot of different people wanted to make it happen. Like the comedians, as I was saying, they did it for next to nothing. They did get a payout eventually once the sponsorship money came in. But it was that thing of like, what, sure, how long had it been since any stand-up comedy was made on TV in Ireland by an Irish podcast?
I would say the last one was, it was a competition and I was in it. I was in the final myself, Colm Turrell, who else was in? Al Port was in it. Alison Spittle, I think, was in the final. Who the fuck else is in the final? A chap from Bray ended up winning it. It did no more stand up afterwards. It was hilarious. But to be fair, the clips, like, it was shot really well, but edited woefully and really bad. Like, they hadn't mic'd the audience at all. So there's still a clip up, and I've asked him a bunch of times, just take that fucking thing down, will you? Because while it's a grand bit for when I was doing stand-up in 2013, it's diabolical because there's nothing from the audience. Like,
looks like you're doing a Dunning-Kruger up there.
Yeah.
Look, they're absolutely no.
That was 2013-14, I'd say.
Who made that call? Like, big budget production. How could you not mic up the audience? Jesus.
There was another bit done for the Galway Comedy Festival. One.
Yeah, they did a good job with that as well. That was a 1 hour kind of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yeah. Of different stand-up comedians. So that would have been about 3 years ago. But it was a one-off kind of one episode thing that they made. But like, it's shocking. So in the space of about 10 years, there was 2 different stand-up things made for Irish TV.
Yeah.
And it's the cheapest form of content you can make. You can just fucking bash it.
Do you know what's beautiful is that you went and fucking made it yourselves and directed more, you had creative rights over it, because even that particular day, things could have gone awry too. The day in Galway, it was done in Ayr Square in a tent. It was cowled, middle of the day. Everybody had their coat on. So, the atmos wasn't fucking great. I remember Danny O'Brien breaking his bollocks for 15-20 minutes trying to get a bit of light. And he did. He got him fucking whizzing. Yeah. And I was first on. I requested to go first on because I was doing that one-man play in fucking Dundalk. Like, I'd have gone it across the country to do it. So I went, can I go on first? And I went, yeah. And as I'm about to go on, and this will give you an insight, you'll know this, like, from how people behind the camera have no grasp for what the magic actually is. Because they'll just go, we can just give it to editing. And as I'm about to go, and he's gotten 20 minutes of getting him into a fucking fizz, and this woman just catch me by the arm. She's like, Tom, can you just pause for like 60 seconds and just, and Danny he'll just keep his hand out and they'll just clap for a bit and we'll cut it together and you come out. I went, so the hard work that we've all just witnessed him doing, you want him to, he doesn't know either. He's just going to stand there like a lemon. And then all the life dies out of the room. And then I go on for 7 or 8 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it was. And to nothing. She went, yeah.
They wanted this for what purpose? For audio track or video track of people applauding?
No. It would have, it was all set up to work perfectly anyway. I just need to get something struck from the stage. And the stage was a bit busy, all right. I said, why, what's up there? She goes, it's an additional mic stand that I just want, I need it clean. I said, I'll tell you what, lady, have your man wait by the side of the stage. I'm going as per fucking normal and I'll just fuck it off. How's that? And
Yeah.
he just catches it. She goes, no, no. And he just said my name. And I ran like the ultimate warrior to the just fucking ran. Danny was looking at me going, fuck, he's keen. It was like,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Good luck to you.
in
Yeah.
that
They
moment,
just,
like she could have killed the entire gig, like for
yeah,
everybody. You know what I mean? In that, just because they just didn't understand the magic in the room, like, you know.
yeah, yeah. You can't, there's so much work goes into trying to make an audience just get them in this moment excited and enjoying the moment. And it's like foreplay,
Yeah.
it's like making love. If you say you're about to make love with someone and then you go, actually stay there for 1 minute, I'm going to move a mic stand here and change the sheets. Don't move, like that's it. You're not
Yeah.
making love. You're done. You're done.
Yeah.
So if
That's
Thomas stands there,
100% it.
you're proud, they're not making love to you. You're finished. That's it.
That's one. That's a perfect analogy to as to because you can see it now in the Apollo, like they're just running through it. Like when if I haven't watched it in ages, but the bits and pieces that pop up on my phone, you can see it. They've completely hoarded out because there's acts there that have no business being there. They're not ready, but because they're at the top of the list in a powerful agency, they're going get them on the Apollo. It's 15 grand in their back pocket, and they'll sell a tour of the country next year off the back of it. But now you can see to a half keen ear, you'll go, they're can the fuck out of that laughter. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah. You
it's on
see
and off with
sometimes
a switch.
you see sometimes in the edit, it's like, let's say in a bit there might be 4 or 5 jokes on this one topic, and then the
Mm.
person would jump onto a new bit. And the first joke is the kind of warm-up joke. They're like, oh, introducing the topic. And then the second, third, fourth joke, they're going to be the big hitters. And they'll end it on the biggest one, biggest laugh, maybe an applause, onto the next bit altogether, right? And you see sometimes that you watch Live at the Apollo or other ones as well. And the first joke, and then they cut to the audience, and the audience are almost like having epileptic fits of
Yeah,
laughter.
yeah.
There's people falling off their chairs into an ambulance getting taken away. That laugh is not from the first joke. That is like you couldn't have faked it worse. Like you have just we're not at home going that watching those people absolutely fall asunder is not making this a better experience. Now all I'm thinking about is how they've cut it. I was enjoying the first joke, and now all I'm thinking about is the editing.
Yes, but you're thinking about it as a stand-up, you see.
Oh
But
yeah,
a lot of people watching that will go, they don't consciously see the people, but it is soaking in.
yeah.
And here's the thing. Here's the
That's
thing
it.
that'll kill you. Some of those people laughing aren't even from that night, aren't even from that comedian.
It cuts to the someone on a bus laughing, just looking.
Yeah,
And
it's literally different times and everything. They have a stock of people roaring laughing and they'll drop it back in. It's like, oh God. Oh God.
yeah, um, yeah, sure. But we managed to get all that over the line anyway. That was
Is
it.
it still available? Is still available?
It's still up on the Virgin Media Player. Type in
Class.
Crackdown Comedy Club on Virgin Media Player. All 6 episodes are up, and 18 comedians. Brilliant lineup. Do check it out. Yeah. We're hoping to
Outst-
make more as well. We'll wait and see what happens with all that now.
And you have a podcast as well of like the comedy club based podcast as well, don't you?
We do. Jeez, thanks, Tom. You're a great man for getting me to plug things I'm supposed to plug, and I completely forgot about Crackdown Comedy Club podcast. We record every comedy gig we do, and we do a track of the audience and a track of the comedian. So we get the laugh track in properly because we for the first 2 weeks of this podcast, we're 24 episodes in now. For the first two, we recorded it straight from the desk of the comedian with the microphone,
Yeah.
we had like 5 or 6 comedians on each episode, and every single one of them either called me or messaged me and go, Eddie, like, what's going on? You can't hear the audience laughing properly. It's they were all furious. They were like, I don't want to go on that again, man. If it looks like I'm just playing jokes on the stage and like it gets a chuckle, I was like, all right, she's all invested in a new fucking microphone, so because no one's for the pure. And now we got a proper double track. So we record the gigs. We put up the best bits of the night. We ask the comedians what bit they're okay with us putting up and whatever. And every week there's like half of it is live stand up, and then half of it is me and Damo just riffing, chatting, whatever.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's fucking brilliant. And in fairness, you're doing it the right way. With the way you're filming it and stuff like that. It's and putting out the fucking clips afterwards. It generates it in a place that, like, it being in Dublin, there's so many fucking things to go and see. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just have to be one step ahead of it. And the weekend I did with you, like, sure, I mean, it was just queues out the fucking. There was no room even as a non-on stage comedian. Like, there's no room. Like, you know, if I could have hung outside the window and just stood in when I was called, which is a fucking great sign. So yeah, anybody who's ever messaged me going, "What'll I do for the weekend?" I always send them to ye, because you're easy to find. It'll always be good.
And the best way to come to the show is cash on the door, no taxes involved at all. Cash, please.
to the Church of Craic-ology. And by the way, if you are going there, go in via the Quays side, where you can see a river, have the river at your back, and walk in that way, because I accidentally entered the rear of the building and ended up in a different comedy club. That'll tell you what's going on in Dublin right now. And then had to like fucking Red Dead Redemption, had to fucking my way up through the building, fucking like something out of Die Hard, to find the actual club I was trying to get to.
On any one night, there's some nights have like 7 or 8 comedy clubs in a 1 kilometer radius in Dublin. Like, it's mental.
Yeah,
but it's great. It's come back stronger than it even was pre-pandemic now.
Well, Eddie Mullarkey, this has been a fucking beautiful ode to the tax system here in Ireland, and how religion might actually end up saving us.
Tom, I've learned a lot today. I'm just thick enough to keep going, and appreciate it. You have a cracking podcast. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Cheers, brother. And my thanks, of course, to Eddie. Yes, I was the one doing all his promotion and whatnot, so it's the Crack Den. Go check it out. If you're in Dublin, it's a great spot. Go check him out. Go to the Virgin Player and check out the comedy show they had on as well. Fantastic. Like I said, hit subscribe if you're listening on whatever platform you're listening on. If you are on Spotify, give it the 5 stars. Anything else, keep them in your pocket. Gigs, I told you about them. 29th, I'm going to be in Galway with the last ever Clattered. And the 19th, I'm going to be in Care at my new comedy club in Tipperary. Do come along. Look, there'll be rakes of other gigs that I'm doing at other shows throughout all that, but I kind of talk about them typically on the old Ramble Pod. So if you want to check it out, or if you're going, hey, you're coming to town near me, or whatever, I probably fucking am over the next couple of months. So hit me a message, Tom O'Mahony Comedy, will find me on most places, or Bookshop Podcast. Go have a gander. Go have an old wander through the link below. Let us see where it takes you. Anyway, thank you all very, very much, and I will talk to the patrons earlier next week, but ye all again later in the week. Have a smashing weekend. Good night, blessing, thanks.